Naturally, as artists and human beings, we are paradoxes. While you can be afraid to be seen, you may also simultaneously want to be seen and want to release your art. So if you're afraid of being seen, this video is for you. Let's grab the microphone and get chatting.
To be perceived by hundreds, thousands, millions of people is not normal at all. So having a strong sense of self is really important. Don't take the love too closely to heart, and don't take the hate too closely to heart. If you take the love too closely, you might start relying on external validation, and one day you might look around and see all these people that love you and wonder, do I even like myself though? Do I like who I am? Do I like what I'm doing? On the flip side, if you take the hate too closely, someone might comment something like, oh my gosh, this girl's so annoying, why is she even making videos? And if you don't have a strong sense of self or confidence in who you are, then you could really start to question yourself. Am I annoying? Should I just quit all of this? What's important is that you love yourself and you love what you're doing, and you have that sense of self to rely on. And while naturally all of us are always a work in progress, it's never to say that we 100% have ourselves figured out, but it is important to at least have somewhat of a sense of self to fall back on. Some people might see 1 minute of you, one video, listen to one song, and think that they know you and think that they understand everything about you, or they can just make a very harsh judgment from a very small amount of information about you. But you can't let that get to you, and you can't take that personally, because I think anyone who's going to judge me harshly and feel like they know me from a video or a song is not someone I would want to know. Keep yourself as mentally healthy as possible, and just make sure you're always checking in with yourself. How do I feel? What do I think of myself? What do I think of my art? As I always say, it's better to try and not succeed in the way that you want than to never try at all. The fear of never going for it and living in regret has to scare you more than being seen, and I know that that's really hard because both of them are scary. Like they say, choose your heart. It's hard to not release art and to regret it and wish that you had, and it's also hard to release your art and put yourself out there. Just decide which one scares you more. For me, living in regret scares me a lot more, and if I was on my deathbed wondering what if I had just released music and seen how it went, that is a scarier thought than putting my music out there and people potentially hating it. Things don't take off right away. Do not panic. It doesn't mean that they never will. How many songs do we see randomly go viral 15, 20 years after their release? And while of course we don't want to aim for 15 or 20 years in order to be successful, it just goes to show that it doesn't have to be instant, and it really can happen at any point. Oftentimes, I think when we release something, we expect to see the results of it right away, especially when we're really excited about a project, but it can take time, and it could take days, months, years, and it's just comforting to know that it doesn't have to be instant in order for it to be successful. And even if it's never successful in the way that a lot of people hear it or notice it, it doesn't mean that it wasn't good art. Never ever base your value as an artist off of stuff like that, because you will forever be unhappy and chasing numbers and not really what art is all about. And while I do understand that we need to make a living, and of course more people seeing you means more money, more success, more opportunity to make art and do what you love, we unfortunately cannot base our soul happiness around that. I have never met anyone who is a really cool human being that spends their time making fun of other human beings. A lot of the times you can be a physical representation of people's triggers and anxieties. So for example, if somebody secretly deep down they want to release their art, or they want to do something more publicly and they're just too afraid to, and they see you doing it, there will be this kind of jealousy there, and you are representing what they would love to be doing. And so that's hard for some people to understand that that's what they're feeling, and so they'll just feel this hatred towards you. If somebody makes art and I'm not a huge fan of it, I can still always appreciate the fact that they put themselves out there. Even if they write a book that's not my style, or they make music, it's not my style, I can still always appreciate the effort and time that things take, and appreciate that somebody put themselves out there. And anyone who is cool will think the same way. And I think if you're an artist and you're busy doing like awesome things, you don't have time to hate on others, you know? And a lot of people that just don't have talents or hobbies are the ones that are going to be hating on you. So pay them no mind, okay? Who cares? Let them think what they're gonna think, because they could never. Be a dynamic person. For example, with your content, if you want to post about a lot of different things, maybe all of that content doesn't perform equally well. But I think if you put yourself in a box and put yourself in one niche or one type of filming style or whatever it is, I think that niching down too much, being really committed to a niche, is like a one-way ticket to artist burnout. I came across this girl's channel who makes very cinematic style videos, and you can tell that's really what she's taken on, and she kind of just says she's not feeling fulfilled. Potentially it's because she's put herself in this niche of very cinematic videos. And so on my channel, I always hope to kind of do a mixture of everything, keep myself inspired and do what feels right. Try not to move this microphone too much because it's very loud if I move. Niching down is important in terms of finding your audience, but they might just relate to one part of you. It's okay to have many dynamic parts of the self where you love to paint and make music and dance, do all different sorts of things. There's no problem with posting all of that, in my opinion. And I used to be obsessed with the fact that I couldn't find my aesthetic, you know, like you see some people have this vintage aesthetic, some people have the gothic aesthetic, and I just feel like I live somewhere in between a few different things, and I think that that's totally fine. It is a little bit harder to market yourself that way because obviously as humans we like things that are very digestible, easy to understand at face value, but I do think it's important to be authentic and be yourself, because somebody who has that vintage aesthetic, maybe that's just what they like and they only like that, so that's why it's very easy for them to post that way. I know that my resin content performs really well, but I also don't do that anymore, and I think those videos are great for educational purposes to keep on my channel, but I have to do what's inspiring me and be true to myself as an artist. Saw the musician Aurora say recently, the world will kind of package you up and decide who you are anyways. You might as well be yourself because people will kind of label you regardless, and we can't really always pick those labels ourselves.
You got this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. I make videos about art and books and a bunch of different things like that. I would love to have you here. So give it a thumbs up because liking this video will help it get to more artists. Okay, thank you for being here. Bye.